Hi friends, I'm Stevi. Thanks for joining me for this Misuse Your Desk Chair mini-series. First of all, if you've already listened to this intro spiel about this mini-series with standalone classes, you can go ahead and skip to. But if you'd like to hear the information, let's get into it. So I've had a lot of people ask me for really quick mini classes in a variety of categories or even surrounding postures that they can do using their chair, whether it's a standard chair like this, a dining chair, or a desk chair, and that are quick. So if they do happen to either work from home or work in an office, they might be able to do it on a quick break or during lunch. And yeah, I'm happy to do this. I do spend a lot of time sitting myself. I am lucky enough to work from home, but I spend a lot of time sitting. And it is fun to use your chair in other ways. Now, I'll say there are so many ways to use your chair. And if you look in the prop section of our app, you'll find that I have quite a few chair classes, including like a chair dance and then some really heated chair classes. There's chair classes where we lay on the floor, where we lay over the chair. With this Misuse Your Desk Chair series, I wanted to keep it a little simple for multiple reasons. One is if you do have a desk chair, like a rolling desk chair that you can't lock or something like that, we don't really necessarily want to be doing too much with standing on it or getting crazy and laying over it. And two, if you want to do this in your office, well, then I welcome that. I used to definitely do handstand breaks in my office, although my office was accepting of this. I worked for a health food company at the time, and they were used to my nonsense. But I know that maybe if we are in the office, we don't necessarily want to like lay on the floor a lot and do things like that. So I'll say this is going to be using the idea of like sitting on the chair, standing next to the chair, maybe putting one foot on the chair, and we'll be doing that in a lot, but not necessarily like laying down on the floor and doing wild things like that. So there are plenty more ways to misuse your chair, and you can check out some of our other classes in the prop section to see some expanded version of that. These are beginner friendly, foundation based. We won't necessarily be doing any really complex moves or super deep because it is faster, and some of them are meant to be heating and some of them are softer. That being said, because these are really short classes, the pace itself can seem a little intimidating to those who are new, just the idea of following so many cues, clues and cues. But I will say that because they're so short, I really, really recommend that you come back to them as many times as you'd like. They get more familiar in your body and you're able to kind of roll through and maybe modify or change anything that you know that you personally need. So don't be intimidated by the pace. It's there to help you get through it quickly and to have something really short, fast, sometimes heated that you can do when you've been sitting for a while. Now, as far as props go for all these classes, you'll need a chair. I prefer something that doesn't roll because there is one or two classes where you can put a foot up or even step onto the chair. It doesn't matter if it's padded or not. Maybe you like it padded. You can always have a blanket or towel around to add to that. Depending on your height and the height of the chair, you may want some blocks or books so that sometimes you could put your feet on the blocks or your hands on the blocks, and that is 100% up to you. So I do recommend having some kind of blanket or towel nearby, or even just a sweatshirt, or if you're at work, having some books or blocks that you can pop out and use whenever you'd like. And that goes for all the classes. I'll continue adding to these, and they can be done in any order. There isn't a specific order for these. If we get enough, we might throw them into their own category. But yeah, let me know what other misuse your desk chairs you'd like to see, and let's get moving. Hi friends, Stevie here. Welcome to arm load of Misuse Your Desk Chair. This is one of our shorter ones because loading the arms, even with body weight, it can be a lot for people when they're just starting, especially on the wrists. So that being said, listen to your body and know that you can always pause, you can edit, you can come back. Even if I don't suggest any other movements, do whatever works for you, including skipping it, adding your own things. Since we'll be doing a kind of side plank or Copenhagen plank, I do recommend if you have a harder chair to have some kind of towel, sweatshirt, blanket that we can use. That is for later towards the end. As always, other props are welcome, including blocks to bring the floor closer to you, and that can be really helpful if you do find you have a bigger chair and you're a smaller person when we're trying to reach our hands down or even our feet. Start like we always do. Come towards the front portion of the chair, sit up tall, and widen your feet just a little bit, maybe slightly more than hip distance. Do whatever you'd like with the angle of your feet. Have the ankle somewhat under the knees. Take your right hand and kind of extend through the wrist, meaning think about the fingernails touching the thick skin side of your forearm. Lean forward, hinge at the hips, and place that wrist along the right knee. Slide it down, kind of thinking about stretching the skin on the back of the forearms until you can reach the floor with it. And again, that could be helpful if you have a block. If it absolutely doesn't reach, think about tenting the fingertips and squeezing them towards the midline. If it does reach, press into the floor and grip with the fingers like you're trying to make a fist. Take your left hand to your left knee, press down, left elbow towards the sky, and twist towards the left. Keep the pressure of the right hand. Great. Slide back up. Let's do the other side. Extend through the left wrist. Try to keep that extension. Place the left wrist on the left knee. Use that traction to kind of slide down. You might feel a little pulling sensation if you really are pressing as you slide, especially for the forearm portions, until your left hand comes to or towards the floor. Again, you can tent it and squeeze. Right hand on the right knee. Twist. Grip with the left fingertips. Bring it back up. Let's do the other side. Extend through the right wrist. Stretch it down, down, down to the floor. Left hand on the left knee. Twist. Grip with the fingers. Switch it out. Extend through the left wrist. Place it on the knee. Slowly reach it towards the floor. A little tension on that forearm until you can squeeze the hands in. Right hand on the right knee. Twist. Release. One more time. Extend through the right wrist. Slide it down the knee. Twist left. Grip the floor and your knee. Switch. Flip the left wrist down, down, down to the floor. Grip. Twist. Come back up. Widen your feet. At least as wide as a mat would be, even if you don't have a mat. Turn your feet out in whatever. Tip your torso forward and kind of lean between your legs until you can bring both your hands to the floor. And this is where, if the hands still do not reach the floor, you can totally round through the spine. That's not a problem. Put your hands on books or blocks. Place them about shoulder distance apart. Spread your fingers long first, not as wide as you can, but long. And then press down through all four corners of the hands. Grip the fingers into the floor like you're really trying to make a fist through the mat, but the mat is in the way. Press down, pull your fingers towards each other. Depending on the flexibility of your fingers, some of them might curl, but maybe not. It's the action of trying to make the fist that's important. Press down through all four corners of the hand as much as you can, even if parts of it don't touch. Keep that pressure, press, press, press. Can you hover through your right leg? If it doesn't hover, just try to find some lightness. Maybe you're just up on your right tippy toe. Push, push, push through your hands. Dome up through the back of the heart, like you're thinking cat pose. Spread your shoulder blades. Maybe the right foot hovers and release. What about the left foot? Can you peel the left heel off the ground? Maybe hover the left foot and release. Remember, it's not a big deal if they don't hover. Just try for that action of finding some lightning. You can back your hands up more. You can reach them further forward. What do you need to do here? Press, hover the right foot, or find lightness. Release. Press, hover the left foot. Release. Guess what? You want to try both feet? Ooh, it's going to be really terrible for me, but let's do it. Press, press, press. Try to hover both feet. And release. One more time like that. Press, press, press. Try to hover both feet. Ooh, and release. Ugh. Curl your way up. Find a good position of your feet for a squat. If we were to lift up off the chair, what do you need to do with your feet to make that happen? Take your hands, press the palms together, and then bring your thumbs towards the space between your chest. Slide your elbows out wide until you're about 90 degrees with your wrist. You're looking for a little stretch here, right? Pressing your hands at each other, elbows widen out. See how as I widen my elbows, I have more stretch to my wrist. Okie dokie. Now here's the thing. Tip your torso forward slightly, push through your heels, and hover slightly off the chair. It doesn't have to be your deepest squat because we're focused on something else. Now, look at your wrists. See that nice angle you created? Can you pull your palms apart, but keep that angle of the wrist? So you're going to want to kind of tip the wrists in. Can you practice pulling your fingernails towards the thick skin side of your forearms and just hovering them an inch apart? We're also squatting. I know there's a lot going on. Let your hands come together. Sit, press into them, get a little stretch. Tip forward, squat, hover the hands apart. I'm shaking here as I try to touch my fingernails towards the thick skin side of my wrist. Hands together, sit. Come forward, lift up to a hovering squat, pull your hands apart. Just an inch or so between them. Hands together, sit. Tip forward, lift up, hands apart. We're here for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Stand up, roll through the wrists. You might feel like cramping sensation in the side. We're just trying to activate the muscles of the forearm that feed down into the hands and the wrists. Maybe stretch your fingers towards the thin skin side of your wrist here. Wiggle through them. All right. It's going to start rolling those arms, and it's going to start pretty quickly. I don't necessarily like the blanket for this one because it slides, but if you do, go for it. We're going to put the toes on the blanket and bend the knees. Take the arms, the hands to the floor. This is a beast pose. You can watch if it's the first time. So we're aiming to get the shoulders somewhat over the wrist, but we will be bending the elbows. What does this look like for me? It looks like something like this. And I like the top of the feet kind of down, but you might want the toes down. I don't like a blanket because I slide. Look at my arms. They're bending, elbows straight back. So join me when you're ready. Beast pose. Grip the floor with the fingers. Press through all four corners of the hand. Long spine. Knees are bent. Beast pose. Beast pose. Woo-hoo-hoo-hoo-hoo. It's so terrible. The more you bend your elbows, probably the more terrible it is. Let the knees be low, like they're hanging towards the floor. And then press through the top of the feet or the toes. Lift the knees up and straighten them. This is not a handstand. If you want to shift your hips more towards your hands, you can. But what we're just thinking about is bringing the legs somewhat towards straight. Grip the floor with the fingers, press into the hands. Bend the knees, lower back down to that beast. Bend your elbows, y'all. Bend your elbows. That's the nasty part. Grip with the fingers. Grip with the fingers. Press through the hands, lift up your hips. Doesn't have to be anything like handstand. Keep your head out to make it less scary if that feels scary. Lower down to beast. Knees low, low, low towards the forward. Grip with the fingers. Lift up. We got one more of these after this, and then we'll take a break. Press the hands down. Grip, grip, grip with those fingertips. Lower down. Hanging beast. Hanging beast, but still very active. Bend your elbows straight back towards your knees. Press into the ground. Lift up through the low ribs. Lift the hips. Last time. Woo! Push into the ground. Let the shoulders come up by the ears. Push, push, push into the ground for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Release your knees back down through beast. Step one foot off the chair and then the other. Release your hands from the floor. Slowly sit on the chair. There's a lot of time upside down, especially if you're newer to it. Roll through the wrists. That can be a lot, right? Especially with the feet on the chair, it's harder than the feet on the floor, yeah? So if you're like, wow, that was really hard, practicing something like beast on the floor, the bend in the elbows is really kind of the key though here, is going to make this more accessible. All right, a little break for our wrists. We get some shoulder love. That's a thoracic extension. So you can put a blanket, thoracic hang, my apologies. You can put a blanket on the edge of the chair. I don't usually like to do that. The back of your shoulder blades go there, maybe like the tip of the back of the shoulder blades. Grab onto the back of the chair if possible, because then we can also get a little bit of wrist release, right? And just kind of rest your hips down towards the floor. This doesn't have to be as fancy as like the one we did during unfurl. Depending on your chair, you might be able to lay your head back. But what we're really thinking about here is the idea of grabbing the chair and pulling on the chair. And you can grab the top of the chair too. That might feel really nice. For a little bit of a wrist release, this pulling is going to be nice to counteract the pushing. And the little thoracic opener is just a benefit, right? You can lengthen your tailbone so that this bend goes more towards the mid back or upper back and shift where you are in the chair. If you want to try grabbing anywhere else, like you want more shoulder stretch, you can walk your hands down towards the back legs. Depends on what kind of chair you have. All we're focusing on is getting some load off of the arms and instead getting some pulling for them. Great. Slowly drip your way down and come to a seat. If this is your first time, just watch for a moment because you have the option to do what we just did again, those beast hip lifts. But if you're like, I want to get crazy, I offer a single leg beast crunch to an L handstand. And it doesn't have to be handstand. Your hips can be behind your shoulders. But what I mean by that is something like this. You'll do the same setup. And we're going to aim to do 3 slow and controlled rounds on each side. This time I do like to keep my toe untucked here. And see how I have my elbows bent as I curl my left knee in towards my left tricep. And then I lift it up to the sky, straightening both legs, pushing into the ground the whole time. And then we'll repeat that. That can be a lot. It can also be very crunchy and feel like there's not a lot of space. It does shift more weight into the hands because especially as the leg comes up towards the ceiling, we now have more load over the shoulders versus on the feet. So keep that in mind if it felt really heavy. One side might feel easier for you than another. The legs don't have to be perfectly straight from a hamstring perspective. So you choose. We're going to do 3 on each side. We'll probably rotate back and forth. We'll do 3 on one side and 3 on the other. It's too hard to switch sides, okay? And we'll do left leg hovering first. So find your beast position. Bend the elbows. You know what? I think I am going to take the top of the foot down. It's hard to decide. Top of the foot down. Bend your elbows. Bend your elbows. Now hover the left foot. Curl the left knee towards the left arm. You can even rest it there like a little crow pose. Bend your elbows more. And then push both legs to or towards straight. Reach the left leg up, press into the ground. Grip the floor with your fingers. Curl back down to your starting position. Arms bend. Lift up. Curl down. This is the last one. Lift up. Yes. Oh, wait. No, that was only 2. I lied. Let's do one more. Curl down. Lift up. Oh. Switch out. Left foot to right. Hover the right foot. Bring the right knee towards the right armpit. Bend both your elbows. Lift up, straightening both legs. Curl the right knee towards the right armpit. Lift up, straighten both legs. Curl, 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 curl. And lift up, press to the hands. Phew, step the right foot down. Left foot down, come off of your wrists, y'all. That's a lot. Take the back of your hands to your side ribs and your elbows wide. Flap your arms like a little chicken. So regardless of what happened there, hopefully you understood that sensation of what it feels like to really load the shoulders and the arms and the wrists with the entirety of the body, or the vast majority of the body. And that bent elbow in beast really does make it something serious. Take your hands out, roll through your wrists. We have one more thing to do here, and before we do a quick little cool down drill, and that is our side plank. So now this is a single arm load, but we have the support of the chair. So we're gonna be doing like a Copenhagen style plank, which means you'll put your leg on the chair. Now, I suggest you put more of like your knee on the chair with your knees bent, because if you put your ankle, that's a lot. It can be a lot on the inner thighs too, and a lot on the inner edge of the knee. If you're like, I crush Copenhagens all day, I know what those are, then sure, you can put your foot on the chair. But I am gonna place my blanket on the chair and then set myself up with my right hand down first and my left knee on the chair. So instead of like putting my foot on the chair like a regular Copenhagen, I'm gonna put my knee here, because I know I want this to be less about my inner thighs and more about the single load of the right hand. Now, I like to turn my right hand so that it faces towards the top of the mat and put my right arm approximately under my right shoulder. Still, there's a tiny bend here, right? I'm not blasting out. I'm hypermobile too, so I'm trying to avoid that. But try a small bend, press, grip the floor with the fingers. Now, this is a great place to be with that right knee down and just kind of flirting with the idea of lifting it up. That's a great place to be. You can also take your left hand down for support here. If you would like to, we will do a short hold. Press down through your left knee, press down through your right hand, squeeze your left knee towards your right. And depending on the chair, this might be different. Push, resist the urge to sink into that shoulder. Push, shoulders towards the side. Do whatever you want with your top arm. Focus on, even look at it with your face, with your face. Grip the floor with your fingers, press into the ground. Press into the ground, squeeze your legs. The more muscle contraction you have elsewhere in your body, sometimes the less load it can feel like on your right arm. We're here for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Release your right knee down, put your left knee down. Whew. Let's switch sides and get this over with, y'all. Set yourself up for success on the other side. This is a left hand down approximately under the shoulder, right knee on the chair. Flirt with this idea first of hovering through that bottom knee. What does it feel like? What do you need to do in your body? Set yourself up for success. Small bend in that bottom arm. Strong push. Grip the floor with your fingers and then hug your bottom knee towards your top knee. Open your shoulders towards the right side of the mat. Do whatever you want with your top arm. Press into the ground. Resist the urge to sink. Push. Small bend. Grip with your fingers. Look at them. Are they gripping? Are they pressing? We're here for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Release. Step off. Come to a seat. Roll through your wrists. You did it. You did it. Option for one thing to finish out class. And this is kind of fun. It's just kind of like a restricted blood flow thing. But it doesn't work necessarily for all bodies. So shift towards the front of your chair. You can leave your blanket on there. Take your hands outside your legs and then curl them underneath. And I come to my toes. Do that. Oh, look, I'm shedding. And the back of my toes up. Now, you can pick your booty up, shift onto your toes, and kind of lower down towards a squat. If you're like, whoa, I did not sign up for this, you can do one hand. That's a great option, right? One hand, like a little squat position. You don't have to do that. You can also just kind of use your hamstring to curl one leg on the chair. But all we're doing is trying to restrict blood flow a little bit into our forearm. So I'm clamping on my forearm, not wrist. Wherever you are, think about squeezing your hands into fists. Open them wide. Squeeze. Open them wide. Yeah, it's a yucky feeling. Squeeze. Open them wide. Squeeze. Open. Squeeze. Open. Squeeze. Open, stay open. Take little circles of the hands in one direction. I know, it's yucky. Other direction. You control how much weight you're putting by how much you put your booty down. We're here. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Lift your booty. Plunk it on the chair. Sit back, relax. Wiggle through your fingers, roll through your wrists. You did it. I know arm loading can feel like a lot, y'all. So give yourself some grace here. This kind of stuff takes practice, and you may find one side is a lot easier than another. Any kind of idea of putting your feet up on the chair is going to make this heavier. It's going to start loading the shoulders more. So if you're like, that was really impossible for me, great. Try it on the floor first, that kind of beast pose hold, and maybe even the crunch into almost like a weird three-legged dog, leg up thing. And that can be a really, really wonderful place to start having bent arm strength, and also this idea of just this active squeeze of the hands. So they're trying to form that fist and press down, and that will make arm loading for things like handstand, but even downward facing dog and plank a little bit easier. Per usual, let me know what else you'd like to see. I have more of these Misuse Your Desk Chair series coming, but I always want to hear what you want. Thanks for being here. Have a great day.